There are still human communities living in places where much of the world believes life simply cannot endure. Some remain isolated by ice for months at a time. Others cling to sheer cliffs, live on the slopes of active volcanoes, or survive in valleys that the rest of the world has nearly forgotten. But what is truly remarkable is not just where they live. Each place preserves a story that time has almost erased from history. And as those stories begin to unfold, you will understand why people have chosen to stay. Amid the isolated cliffs of the Himalayas, Phukdal appears to be part of the mountain itself. From a distance, its earthen and wooden structures rise in tiers around the entrance of a vast cave, creating the impression that the monastery was not built by human hands, but quietly nurtured by the mountain over centuries. The closer you get, the more Phukdal seems to merge with the cliff. The monastery was built around a cave that has served as a place of spiritual practice for more than 2,500 years, while its mud and timber buildings have stood for 7 to 8 centuries. The scene recalls Mesa Verde in Colorado, but at an altitude where every breath becomes more precious. Reaching Phukdal remains as challenging as it was centuries ago. Visitors must hike for hours along narrow trails carved into the mountainside. Today, around 70 to 100 monks still live here, preserving rare ancient manuscripts. Remarkably, much of the Western world remained unaware of this place until Alexander Soma de Coros discovered it in the 1820s. Isolation has never prevented this small community from adapting. After a flash flood destroyed the monastery school in 2015, the building was fully restored. Just 1 year later, 7 solar microgrids brought electricity to 80 rooms for the first time, ending centuries of complete separation from the modern world. Yet its best-kept secret lies deep within the mountain. A sacred spring flows through the ancient cave, creating a waterfall beside the monastery's prayer chambers. At Phukdal, the most extraordinary sight is not that people live on a cliff, but that nature and faith have learned to exist together within a single mountain. The Satya River flows quietly through the Ha Valley like a mirror reflecting the untouched beauty of nature. But its most remarkable story is not found on the surface. It lies hidden beneath the cold current. In a place that seems to hold nothing more than stones and icy water, scientists uncovered an ecosystem far more active than many had imagined. Following 2 field surveys conducted in 2021, a study published in 2023 recorded 632 fish representing 8 species, along with 265 samples of benthic macroinvertebrates. Those findings reveal that the Satya River continues to sustain a remarkably healthy ecosystem. What drew the greatest attention from researchers, however, was a tiny organism known as Heterocleon sp. This mayfly accounted for 43.4% of all benthic macroinvertebrates recorded. For freshwater ecologists, such dominance is a well-established indicator of exceptionally clean water and a river that has remained largely undisturbed. That discovery becomes even more significant as development pressures gradually begin to emerge around the valley. Even so, the ecosystem beneath the Suture River has preserved a balance that many other mountain watersheds lost long ago. Perhaps Haas's greatest treasure is not found on its mountain slopes, but within the tiny creatures living beneath a river that appears almost anonymous. As life continues to flourish beneath the waters of the Suture River, Haas reminds us that the clearest signs of an unspoiled landscape are often the ones hidden from view. Some villages exist at the foot of a mountain. Kulpa exists beneath a legend. Perched at 9,100 feet, this small Himalayan village faces Kinnaur Kailash, which rises to nearly 19,800 feet, where snow-covered peaks seem to dominate every horizon. Each day in Kulpa begins beneath the shadow of the sacred mountain. Against a backdrop of ancient rock and permanent snow, temples roofed with slate blend seamlessly into the rugged Himalayan landscape. While the scent of apple orchards and walnut trees drifting from the hillsides brings a rare sense of tranquility to this elevation. But what makes Kulpa truly distinctive is not its scenery alone. Local rituals have been preserved for more than 5,000 years, predating much of recorded history in North America. It is this enduring union of ancient tradition and a demanding mountain environment that has shaped the identity of the community. The forests surrounding the village remain home to Himalayan black bears and Himalayan models. Nearby, the Hubulankar Monastery has stood for more than 1,000 years. In response to earthquakes and steep terrain, local builders developed the Kathkuni technique, interlocking cedar wood with stone to create structures with exceptional earthquake resistance. Its greatest mystery, however, rises high above on Kinnaur Kailash. The Shivling rock pillar, standing at nearly 20,000 feet, is said to shift through 7 different colors, as though the mountain were telling its own story. Kulpa does not simply lie beneath a sacred mountain. It exists as part of the legend itself. Amid a cold desert on the roof of the world, Kibier has endured for nearly 1,000 years at an elevation of almost 14,000 feet. Bare mountain slopes stretch to the horizon, where wind, stone, and silence seem to rule everything. At first glance, Kibier hardly appears to be a place where people could settle for generations. Winter temperatures regularly fall below -35 degrees Celsius, while the surrounding landscape consists of barren valleys carved by relentless winds over thousands of years. Yet this village, whose history dates back to the 11th century, continues to endure. Encircling Kibier is a wildlife sanctuary covering about 857 square miles, where some of the world's best adapted high-altitude species still survive. Surveys conducted in 2018 recorded approximately 25 to 30 snow leopards, making this one of the few places on Earth where there is a genuine chance of encountering the elusive predator. The local community has also learned to turn hardship into opportunity. Since 1998, farmers have deliberately delayed planting so they can harvest when market supplies are scarce, transforming the village's isolation into an economic advantage. Yet Kibir's strangest story is not found on its mountains. Fossils of corals and other marine creatures still appear in the cliffs surrounding the village, preserving traces of the ancient Tethys Ocean. Kibir does not simply stand among towering mountains. It stands upon the floor of an ocean that disappeared long ago. Ashkili stands at nearly 6,900 feet beneath the permanently snow-covered summit of Shkara. In the middle of a narrow valley, hundreds of medieval stone towers rise like a forest carved from rock. Centuries of isolation have made this place feel like a world existing beyond the rhythm of modern time. It is one of the highest continuously inhabited settlements in Europe. Long before many cities in the New World were founded, Svan families were already living inside these massive stone towers. Long winters and heavy snowfall regularly turned the village's only access road into an impassable route. In Chuzhashi alone, more than 200 defensive towers built between the 9th and 13th centuries still stand today. These structures serve not only as fortresses but also as safe havens for manuscripts, religious icons, and Georgia's cultural treasures through centuries of upheaval. As security gradually improved in the early 21st century, the people of Ashkili faced a different challenge. They had to find a balance between the growing income from tourism and preserving the isolated way of life that had endured for more than 1,000 years in the Caucasus Mountains. Hidden among the clouds is a resilience that defies time. For 10 centuries, these towers have never fallen to the empires that once dominated much of the surrounding region. Ashkili has not survived by remaining outside history. It has survived by learning how to stand firm within it. Time seems to move more slowly among the salt-weathered cliffs of the Atlantic. Only when you set foot on Inishbofin, off Ireland's west coast, do you realize you're standing on rock as ancient as the deepest layers of the Grand Canyon. Before you lie a solitary fortress, white sand beaches, and crystal-clear waters that have remained almost unchanged for thousands of years. From the sea, Inishbofin reveals low cliffs, pale beaches, and a star-shaped fortress quietly facing the Atlantic Ocean. Measuring only about 3 miles long and 1.5 miles wide, the island is small enough to explore in a single day, yet every stretch of coastline offers a distinctly different landscape. Hidden beneath its grass and stone lies Precambrian bedrock formed during the earliest chapters of Earth's history, dating back to the same geological age as the deepest rock layers of the Grand Canyon. Every wave and every salt-laden wind continues to shape these ancient rocks, as though nature is still refining a masterpiece billions of years in the making. Humanity has left only a light imprint on this landscape. In the 17th century, forests were cleared by Cromwell's forces, and the salt winds of the Atlantic prevented them from ever returning. Today, amid the calls of seabirds, small village pubs, and quiet coastal paths, Inishbofin still preserves a pace of life that has become increasingly rare along Ireland's western shore. Perhaps the island's greatest wonder is not what people once built here, but how nature has quietly preserved this landscape in an almost untouched state for billions of years. Sometimes, the most memorable journeys do not take us farther across the world. They take us deeper into time. The ground beneath your feet still releases quiet warmth, even though life returned years ago. In the heart of Fogo Island, Cha das Calderas lies within the caldera of a dormant volcano, where every breeze carries the feeling that the Earth has never truly stopped moving. From the rim of the volcano, the Bordera Cliffs rise nearly 3,300 feet, enclosing a basin about 5.5 miles across and creating a landscape that feels separated from the rest of the island. At its center, the cone of Pico do Fogo still towers above a vast field of black lava, a constant reminder that this entire land was born from fire. What is remarkable is that the volcanic ash which once buried everything has become exceptionally fertile soil. Vineyards have expanded from about 500 acres to more than 1,200 acres, while scientists continue to discover endemic plant species surviving beneath the cliffs. Life did not disappear, it simply found another way to endure. The people chose to stay as well. After the 2014 eruption, many families rebuilt their traditional Funko houses from lava stone on ground that still retained the volcano's warmth. Each day begins with the wind echoing from the Bordera Cliffs and the unmistakable reminder that this volcano has never truly fallen asleep. At Cha das Calderas, lava tells more than a story of destruction. It also nourishes vineyards, supports homes, and forms the foundation of a community that continues to thrive. In the heart of a living volcano, every peaceful day feels like a gift that nature has granted, at least for now. In western Myanmar, Raku was once a great metropolis protected by 18.6 miles of fortified walls and a labyrinth of canals, rivaling London in wealth and prosperity. Low stone temples rise through the morning mist like ancient fortresses, where every sound seems to have been held in place by time itself. Today, Raku is a quiet plain, but in the early 17th century it ranked among the most powerful capitals in Asia. Its 18.6-mile defensive walls and intricate canal network turned the city into a fortress that was nearly impossible to conquer. The kingdom's prosperity was so remarkable that European merchants compared it directly to London and called it the Venice of the East. That scale is reflected in its extraordinary monuments. In just 6 months, King Min Dika commissioned the construction of Kothong Temple, home to around 90,000 Buddha images. Across its sandstone walls, thousands of tiny carvings, each no larger than a postage stamp, cover virtually every inch of the surface, creating what feels like an endless miniature world. Yet Mraku has never belonged only to the past. Several temples were swallowed by the jungle and vanished from maps until they were rediscovered in 1996. Even today, armed conflict continues to threaten monuments that have endured for centuries, proving that the history of this ancient city is still being written. As you walk through its dark corridors, where echoes once helped kings meditate in absolute silence, you realize that an empire is still whispering beneath the jungle canopy. A great city that once shone on the map of the world, only to disappear so quietly that it seems as though it had never existed at all. Where the air is so thin that every step demands more than a single breath, Korzok still endures at an elevation of 15,075 feet higher than the summit of Mount Whitney. Beneath barren mountain ranges, Lake Tsomariri lies still like a ribbon of blue glass across a cold desert. Only when you stand before its vast expanse do you begin to understand the limits that human beings continue to challenge. At this altitude, most people can remain only for a short time, yet Korzok has endured for centuries. Along the shores of the 16-mile-long Lake Tsomariri, fields of barley continue to grow despite winters that can plunge to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, as though nature has quietly yielded to human perseverance. The secret lies not only in the land or the climate, but also in the Chengpa people and their rebo tents woven from yak hair. Flocks of Changluk sheep, their horns dyed red or blue, move silently across the salt valleys of Puga. Only years later did scientific studies reveal that their wool is as fine as premium pashmina fiber, transforming an unassuming breed into one of the plateau's most valuable natural resources. Yet the most remarkable discovery emerges during the harshest winters. The Chengpa learned that the body heat of a single sheep can keep 4 or 5 goats alive through freezing nights. Beneath the frozen ground around Korzok, ancient stone graves and prehistoric tools quietly testify that people have adapted to this landscape for thousands of years. In Korzok, the limits of life are not defined by altitude, but by humanity's ability to adapt one breath, one winter, and one challenge from nature at a time. Beneath a sky made thin by altitude and beside a motionless lake, Korzok reminds us that human endurance can sometimes reach far beyond what nature seems willing to allow. Not many places on Earth require you to carry a rifle simply to walk beyond the edge of town. Longyearbyen, farther north than any other permanently inhabited settlement of its kind, covers only about 4 square miles. Its brightly colored houses stand out against the frozen valley, as though clinging to the very edge of the world. Longyearbyen lies at 78 degrees 13 minutes north, where the climate is warming several times faster than the global average. The entire town is only about 3 times the size of Central Park, with roughly 30 miles of roads that remain completely isolated, connecting to no other community on the island. Yet what made Longyearbyen famous lies beneath its permafrost. When scientists studied the victims of the 1918 influenza pandemic, they found that the bodies had undergone almost no decomposition. The possibility that the influenza virus might still be preserved led to an extraordinary rule. People are no longer buried in Longyearbyen. Life here continues to adapt to a changing environment. After deadly avalanches struck in 2015 and again in 2017, entire houses were relocated out of danger zones. Even so, carrying a rifle remains routine, as polar bears can appear without warning. The same frozen ground that has protected the town for generations also preserves traces that modern science still treats with caution. In Longyearbyen, even death does not easily return to the earth. At the northern edge of the inhabited world, Longyearbyen reminds us that the boundary between human life and nature is far more fragile than we often imagine. If there is one place on Earth where the Ice Age seems never to have truly ended, it is Oymyakon. Beneath Yakutia, a region nearly the size of India, permafrost extends thousands of feet into the ground, where the cold has become not only a feature of the landscape but part of the geology itself. Oymyakon has recorded temperatures approaching -96 degrees Fahrenheit, yet its most astonishing story lies beneath the seemingly motionless frozen ground. At depths of around 5,000 feet, the immense pressure within the permafrost still allows groundwater to continue flowing, as though even the harshest winter has never been able to freeze every movement of the Earth. Above the surface, people have learned to adapt to those same conditions. Cars are wrapped in heavy insulation to prevent their engines from freezing overnight, while just a few minutes outdoors can leave eyelashes coated with ice crystals. Sometimes, a bowl of hot noodles cools and freezes before the meal is even finished. But the frozen ground preserves far more than winter. Each year, the thawing permafrost reveals dozens of tons of mammoth ivory along with remarkably well-preserved mammoth remains, allowing scientists to continue studying DNA that has survived for thousands of years. On this same land, the Even people have herded reindeer for roughly 3 millennia, while children in Oymyakon still attend school through some of the harshest winters on Earth. In Oymyakon, ice does more than lock the ground in place. It preserves the past, sustains life, and conceals movements that the human eye can scarcely perceive. In a land that seems frozen in time, Oymyakon continues to prove that life always finds a way to endure, even beneath the coldest ice. From high above, it takes time for your eyes to find a Tokakortormite. A few hundred residents cling to the entrance of Scoresby Sound, surrounded by wilderness that borders a national park larger than the state of Texas. Brightly painted houses appear like tiny brushstrokes against towering ice cliffs and seas filled with drifting icebergs. Perched at the edge of the world's largest fjord system, Tokakortormite is little more than a small cluster of homes located over 500 miles from the nearest community in Greenland. Behind the settlement lies Northeast Greenland National Park, covering approximately 375,000 square miles, so vast that more than 100 Yellowstone national parks could fit within its boundaries. That isolation is now reshaping both nature and human life. As sea ice continues to retreat, polar bears are increasingly forced into the settlement in search of food. In 2017 alone, at least 21 polar bear sightings were recorded, an unusually high number for Greenland, signaling profound changes across the Arctic. Yet the most fragile element is the community itself. Founded in 1925 to reinforce national sovereignty, the town has since seen a sharp decline in traditional hunters, while many young people are forced to leave after completing the 8th grade. In Etokakortoormite, the greatest threat is not the cold. It is the quiet possibility that an entire culture could disappear amid a wilderness that remains as immense as it has always been. Where nature dominates nearly every horizon, the presence of humanity feels both remarkably fragile and quietly resilient. Those communities continue to stand at the edge of the world, and perhaps the greatest limits of humanity have never been set by nature.